Hello everybody, welcome to Coco's Crochet. Today is August the 15th, 2023, when we celebrate World Granny Square Day. So I thought I would come on and join you all tonight so we can share each other's projects. I'll certainly be showing you some of my favorites, and I'm sure that a lot of you, if not all of you, have created something using a granny square or two. And those of you that haven't, I'm sure that after tonight's viewing and all around the world, you'll be seeing people using the hashtag Granny Square Day and Granny Square Day 2023, both on Instagram and other forms of social media. You're going to catch the Granny Square bug, because let me tell you, it is one of my favorite things to crochet. That's why I'm so happy that we have this opportunity to celebrate the Granny Square internationally. Now, I do have a little bit of a blurb for you, some stats that go along with today's event, which is an international event, as we said. Imagine worldwide, all of us crocheters get to share this moment of glory together and, talk about one of our most favorite things to crochet. So, Granny Square Day every year falls on the 15th of August, and it is international, and it is an online celebration which started off on Instagram. Now, right now, I'm not sure if it's anywhere else, but definitely on Instagram. I've already been on there, and I've put in the hashtag Granny Square Day 2023, and there are quite a few posts in there, and I'm sure there are going to be a lot more to come. So the event was originally created in 2014. So next year will be a decade, a 10-year celebration, by the US crochet whiz Susan Regalia, who realized that Instagram's iconic grid format could be used to replicate the patchwork arrangement of the classic Granny Square blanket online. How amazing is that? And then it says that others quickly caught on to the idea, and so Granny Square Day was born. A chance for a worldwide community, that's us guys, a worldwide community to come together and celebrate what they love. Now, there's a little quote here which I think applies to all of us. I absolutely love it, so I have to share this with you as well. A blanket is a gift of comfort and love, says Susan. When any of us view or contribute some of these granny squares, it's as though as we join in a giant world hug with each other. How amazing is that, guys? And what an awesome thought to have in the back of our minds every time we go and view some of those granny squares or create one for our family and friends. It's just a giant hug, isn't it? And that's what, our love of crochet is, essentially. So I'm going to show you my very first granny square project, because that's how I started to crochet. I wanted to learn how to make a granny square. I didn't know anything about the language of crochet, what yarn or what hook to use, but I just had it in my mind about 3 years ago that I wanted to learn how to crochet a granny square. And this is what eventuated from that. My very first and my very favorite, this is my biggest love, this blanket. It's probably not my best project, but I absolutely love it. It's made up of different size granny squares, and here's one down here as well, as you can see. Can you see that one, guys? Look at that one. I love that one. So basically I used most of the primary colors, or some of the primary colors. I wanted to make it a unisex blanket for my whole family to use, and let me tell you, they've enjoyed many hours of comfort and joy under there watching TV and snuggling together. And I just used some basic acrylic yarn for this one. I went into my local Spotlight store, didn't even know what hook to marry with a yarn. I was helped by a wonderful assistant there, and the rest is history, as they say. The humble granny square became one of my favorite things to crochet. And then I eventually learned that it's not just a simple matter of just crocheting like this, which is the most plainest and simplest one, or one with smaller holes in it, depending how many chains you do on your corners and in between. Then I realized that you could create different patterns with them, not only flat 2D ones, but also 3D ones. And then I discovered that there were not only tutorials online, which is the way that I learned how to crochet. And if any of you haven't learned as yet, just go on YouTube and type in granny square, basic granny square, and you will, get so many tutorials to look at. And then, you know, there are so many books. I've got a couple that I'll just show you. Like this little one just came with one of the magazines that Simply Crochet, of course. And look at all the different granny squares that you could make just in this little pattern book. And, you know, there's also like a 3D version book that I'll show you in just a moment. But as I said, I first started off with a very basic granny square, and then I got a little bit adventurous and I started to make things like this beautiful love heart one. And then I progressed to the solid one, which is also very lovely. And then I thought, oh wow, I'd love to make a sunflower one. At that time, I was very, very new at crochet, so this was very adventurous for me. And I absolutely love these original squares, granny squares that I've made, and I will treasure them forever. I can't part with them, even though I am creating a few little projects with them. But as the time went on, I started to think, well, what else could I do other than a blanket? And then I did apply our craft, our crocheting, and our love of the granny square to other projects. So before I go to show you some of those, and I have made quite a few blankets that I've given away, and one of my favorite ones to create is just a giant granny square. So the beauty of that is if you use like a variegated or a self-striping yarn, you don't even have to have any joins. It just continuously grows and grows. So I made this one, as I said, first, but then I also made this one, which is just greens and different size granny squares, as you can see. And when I crocheted them together, I put them in as diamonds rather than squares, and that's how I got this effect. So very, very pretty, I think, and another very, very warm and squishy blanket for my family. Now, I'll just show you a few other little granny squares as I've gotten better over the time. I've applied, you know, my knowledge, and you watched other YouTube videos, and, you know, through books, I've learned how to make other granny squares as well. So I'll just show you a few here. As you can see, they're getting more and more elaborate or intricate, or, you know, fancy, whatever word you might like to use. And of course, a granny square can be any size, as big or as small as you wish to make it. And most of us know that we use the technique of joining them together, and there are many ways to join them, whether you know, put them together, join as you go, or use a flat stitch, or whatever stitch, or a lacy stitch even, but that's totally up to you. Now, I discovered that you could also make 3D granny squares out of this gorgeous book. And I'll just show you a couple because I'm doing the Under the Sea theme, and they're very, very cute. There's a little fish, they're 3D as you can see, and a whale. Now, they're just, you know, simple squares that you eventually do put together to create either a wearable, like imagine a beautiful cardigan or a jumper or a blanket. But then again, there's other things that you can make as well. So I do have the tote that I made, which a lot of us had made a while back. This is the Bella Coco tote. It's made out of cotton. It was double-stranded, and there is a tutorial for this one, and it was, I think it was called Not the High Street crochet tote. So this is actually gorgeous. I absolutely love this bag. And again, the humble granny square pieced together to make a beautiful bag. Now, if you have any granny squares left over, as I did here, all you need to do is, so there's the back of the granny square, fold it together. Let me just open it up for you. Sew to those ends in, put a little button, and then you have a little purse. If you put a little handle on it, like a, you know, crochet like a strap, you can create a lovely little bag for a little child as well, a little girl, or you can use it for yourself to put little cards and things in your bag, and you'll never ever lose them. So as simple as that, you can create a little purse or a little bag from just one granny square. Absolutely love that idea. Now, the other thing that you can do, if you want to create like a Lovie, which I absolutely love. Here's one of my Lovies. So this is a pattern by Z from Zelda NRJ3. So basically that's just a granny square, but you crochet around an elastic. So you apply the same technique as you would for a simple granny square, and you create this gorgeous little creature to hand over to someone. And, you know, depending on what yarn you use, obviously you're going to create the perfect little Lovie. So that's pretty much, you know, wraps up what you know, the granny square means to me. It's just so very, very versatile. But it doesn't stop there, guys. As you can see behind me, you can also make gorgeous bucket hats. Let me bring our little friend across here and let me show you. If you simply make 5, so there's 4 and 1 on top, 5 granny squares, you sew 4 together, put the lid on, and then you make a little frill on the end of the rim. And there are many, many tutorials for this. You have a bucket hat. Now, I love these bright colors. I have made little baby ones as well, but they disappeared very, very quickly. So, like I said, 5 granny squares. Imagine you have 5 of these or 5 of these or even 5 of these. Put them together and you've got a gorgeous bucket hat. But it doesn't stop there. You can go to home decor. And I absolutely love this cushion. Now, I made this cushion using Ogo yarns, and the back is a little bit different, just for variety. And I put a few buttons in the top there. You can see them there. And just from a giant granny square, what do we have? A gorgeous cushion cover. So, you know, it's endless what you can create. Your imagination is all that you need to use. As I said, I've made many, many baby blankets, just continuous granny squares. I like to flip them because that way, you know, they have a nice even look about them. And I've always enjoyed making them. I find crocheting a granny square is very, very soothing. So please share in the comments what your favorite granny square project has been, or maybe as yet you haven't made one, and you know, maybe this will inspire you to start your first project. So look, I just thought I'd come on and celebrate with you this amazing day. I don't think that I've missed out on anything because I get very, very excited when I talk about crochet. You know, the projects are endless. You could make a scarf, obviously, you can piece them all together. It's just amazing what you can do when you just put your mind to it. But please, you know, go along and share your granny squares, you know, your gorgeous makes on Instagram. I'm going to try to put something on later if I can. I'm not very tech savvy, so I'll see if my daughter is able to help me, but I'd certainly like to contribute to this worldwide event of the celebration of the humble granny square, which has come so far, let's be real. And it is an amazing, you know, time that we can celebrate being crocheters. I absolutely love that. Up until this year, I didn't even know that it existed. I can't believe it, even though I've been crocheting for about 3 years now. So it's wonderful that I've been able to join this beautiful community and celebrate all together. So I hope you're all keeping well. Continue with your crochet journeys. And I'll say take care, and I'll see you all again in another video. Bye-bye, everybody.